All right, so today we are going to study story
Okay.
problems, and please mute your microphone. Okay. The question is now how to solve this type of problem. For students in advanced classes, and now we just set up equations and blah blah. We can solve the problems quickly, but here we cannot use uh, equations, in variables. Okay, we should at the very beginning, we should learn how to use pictures to solve the problem. Okay, so let's try. Okay, so here we have a what? We have a science book. We have in a library. The number of science book is 60 more than twice of fiction books. Okay, so if there are 200 more science books than fiction books, how many science books are there? Okay. Well, to solve this type of problems, we can draw the picture. Speaker, right? So look. This is a okay. Let me bring the pencil. Okay. So we have 200 science books, 60 more than twice of fiction books. So fiction books, you draw the picture. Okay, this is fiction books. Okay, science books is twice more, right? 60 more than twice of fiction. This is twice of fiction book, and you add the 60 more. So this is 60. Okay, this is a fiction books. This is science books. Okay, but then we also know that there are 200 more science books than the fiction books. So that means if you compare the science books, okay, then it's all science book, right? So from here, let me draw another picture. From here to here, that's a difference. Space. Okay, from here to here, right? You match up, right? So that's gonna be 60 more. So here 200. So is that, in other words, if we added 200 books to fiction books, they match. So from here, this picture, you can tell that, right? You can tell that the fiction books. Sorry, this one section means the number of the fiction books. This one section means the number of fiction books. Okay, the bottom line, tells you the number of all science books. So the fiction books, right? So the fiction books, actually, fiction books plus 60 to 200. Okay, we call it fiction book plus 60 should be 200. Okay. So you can tell how many fiction books there. So let me repeat again. So very beginning, you draw the line for the number of fiction books, then you draw the line for the number of science books. Then you see that the total, okay, is the number of science books, okay? But but there are 6 more twice of fiction books. So you divide in the science, in the whole line for the science books, you mark it, like a see as a one section, fiction plus 60. Okay. Then also you look at second sentence, the 200 more science books. So that means the total number of science books is going to be, is going to be as the number of fiction books plus 200. So if you compare both sides, you can see that one section for the fiction books should be 200 minus 60. Okay, so that means the number of fiction books is going to be 140. Okay, if you figured out this, then you can tell the number of the science books. Okay, it's the number of science books. Did you get it? Or you got different answers? Now, if someone want to learn, let's try a different way, okay? If someone want to learn using equations, just say the F represents a fiction box, right? So science books, okay, is going to be, right? S means the number of science books, is going to be twice of the fiction books, okay, and plus 60, okay? And second sentence means, science books, right? The number of science books is going to be 200. Yeah, there are 200 more science books than fiction books. So F plus 200. Clear? Right? So from here, you can try now. We're going to learn you both. Okay. The same, some students can catch that point. So that means the second you translate the sentence into equations, like S means the number of science books, F means the number of fiction books. So the first sentence tells you, okay, the number of science books is 60 more than twice of the fiction books. So S equals 2F plus 60. Then second sentence means there are 200 more science books. So make it 200 to the fiction books, you get the number of science book. And then from here, you can try to figure out what is the number of the F should be. Otherwise, how does that match, right? So when in other words, then you have to learn how to solve this type of equation. And some kids can do that, some kids cannot. So let me show you how to do this problem, okay? This is the first equation, that's second equation, right? Okay. All right, so you can make a subtraction because this minus the equation 1 minus equation 2, so this side is 0, the other side is going to be F, and 60 minus 200 is going to be negative 140, right? Yeah. Then we go back to the picture again. Okay, this first, so negative 140. Okay. So that's why the number of the fiction books must be 140. Okay, once you figured out that, then S is going to be 140 plus 200. 140 plus 200 should be 340. So there are 340 science books there. Okay. Okay. Now let me go back to the picture again because it's harder for some students to understand using equations, but we're going to learn both. Okay. So this is a when you see yeah. So the first sentence says that let's draw the number. You know that science book is more than the fiction books. Okay. So this is a science book. That's it. This is science books. This is fiction books. Okay. So the first sentence that science book is twice the fiction books, 60 more twice than fiction books. So you put fiction books, then you still have additional 60, right? Okay. The second sentence says that science books are 200 more than fiction books. So if you draw the science books from here to here, 200 more than the fiction books, right? So that will be 200. Okay. Then compare both sides. You compare both sides. This is let's compare this two groups, right? What they can tell, you can tell that fiction books plus 60 should be equal to 200, right? You look at this, right? So fiction books, this fiction books, the number of fiction books plus 60 should be equal to 200. So you can see the number of the fiction books, right, should be equal to the difference of this 140. Okay, so that's why then you can get the rest of that, science book. Okay. So science books will be twice of fiction books plus it's going to be twice of the fiction books plus 60. That's why I'm going to hold on. Let me check. Yeah, it's 340. You can do like that. So it's different computations. All right. We're going to focus on the next problem. Right. Try to let me move this problem a little bit up. Yeah, we need more space. Okay. So it's you can draw the picture. Okay. If you're not able to use the equations, I'm going to teach you 2 different ways. Okay. So some students already get this answer. In a garden, there are 15 more apple trees than pear trees. Okay. So you can, when you draw the picture, 15 more, right? So pear trees, you draw a short line segment, and then for the apples, you draw a longer one. Okay, so this is a number of the pear trees. Okay, then also have a draw a number of apple trees. Okay, it's a number of the apple trees is 1 more than 3 times the pear trees. So I probably have to draw the longer one. Okay, I add. Let me draw a little bit short when the pear trees. So pear trees, okay, and okay, so this is the one. All right, so we're going to compare with that. Okay, this is an apple. This is a pear. Okay. All right, so let's look at the first sentence. Okay, let's look at the second one. If the number of the apple trees is 3, if 1 more than 3 times the pear tree, so pear trees plus 1. Okay, we also know that there are 15 more apple trees than pear trees. That means if we put the apple trees here, so this is going to be 15. Okay, so it's a very similar problem. From this picture, what are we going to compare? We're going to compare those 2 parts. Right? We are going to compare those 2 parts. Those 2 parts tells you, okay, double of the pear tree, number of the pear trees plus 1 is going to be 15, right? Double of the twice of the pear trees, number of the pear trees plus 1 is going to be 15 because they both should be matched. So that means you can directly do this problem. The 15 minus 1, cut the 1, right? Minus 1, those 2 should be the same, right? So that's why 14 divided by 2, the number of pear trees should be 14 divided by 2, it's 7. So once you get the number of the pear trees, you can number of apple trees. Apple trees 3 times. So number of apple trees is going to be 3 times the number of the pear trees plus 1. So it's 22. Okay. Now I want to show you how to solve the problem using equation. Okay. P means the number of the pear trees. A means the number of the apple trees. The first sentence tells you the number of the apple trees is going to be 15 more than the pear trees, so plus 15. Okay. Second sentence tells you that the number of the apple trees is 3 times the pear trees plus 1. Right? So 1 more than 3 times the pear trees. From here, you can how to do that? You can we're not going to use subtraction here. We can in the place of A, I can put 3p here. So what you get is this line, right? So you have on the left side have 3p, on the right hand side 1p. So what do? you subtract the p from both sides. Subtract the p from both sides. So this side you get 2p, and then plus 1 equals 15. Now I think that the p should be equal to 7, right? 2 times 7 plus 1 is 15. You can do one more step. You can say 2p equals 14, and p should be equal to 7. So then you figured out the number of the pear trees, then you can figure out the number of the apple trees. Okay? So once you get the value of p, then you can get the value of a. So so then the two different ways to solve problem. Some students can draw the pictures, okay, and trying to figure it out. But if we're able to learn how to use letters, variables to equations, then in the future you can solve more sophisticated problems. Okay. All right. So let's try and understand. Right. Let's so at the very big, yeah. If you draw the picture, you can you're not sure how long you can modify a little bit later based on the sentence, right? When I draw the first one, draw the time based on first sentence. When I draw the picture, I make the line for the apple a little bit shorter, so I have to resketch it, okay? Because second sentence tells you the number of the apple trees is 1 more than 3 times, so I have to draw 3 pieces equivalent plus 1. Okay. Okay. All right, so let's try the next problem. Okay, do not type anything else which is different from the mathematics. Okay, and the shop ending. Okay. All right, so here's another problem. Okay, there are 2 baskets of apples. Okay, there are 2 baskets of apples. The number of the apples in the larger basket is 4 times the number of the apples in the small basket. So if one moves 140 apples from the larger one to the small one, the larger basket has 20 more apples than the small one. So how many apples are in the larger one originally? Right? So that means, can you see that? So let me draw the picture for you. So you have you don't know how many apples in the large basket at the very beginning, but it's 4 times the small one. So the small one, that's a small, that's a larger, right? So when you draw the picture, you draw like that, right? 4 times the number of apples in large basket, 4 times 4 times the number of the apples in the small one. Okay, draw 4, that's it. But we also know that well, another picture tells you if I move 140 apples from the larger one to the small one, you lost some. Okay, but it's still 20 more than the large. Okay, so I'm going to move this. I have to cut this. Okay, 140. So add 140, right? But the small one will be also lost to 140. So I'm going to shorter. This is a 140 is gone to move to here, right? Then there's still 20 more here. Got it? When you compare. Okay, so let me draw the picture here. This is a piece. We compare those two, right? Yeah. So think about this problem. Whereas this piece, this whole piece is moved to here. Okay. So how many of them? So 140. 140. You lost the 140, right? You move 140 apples to the small basket. Then you still have a 20 more. Okay. The question is how do you solve this problem? I think you can, let me just reschedule. This is a little bit hard to come. So that means, look at this. This is 140, right? That means this three part, 140 plus 140 plus 20 is equivalent to the three sections. One section means the number of the apples in the small basket. Got it? Okay. So clear, right? Yeah. So it's 140 plus 140 plus 20 is actually the length of that. That is equivalent to three of this section. Okay. So this is the number of apples in the small basket. Okay. So that's that is going to be what 140 100 is 300. Okay. So the number of apples in a small basket will be 100. So if you figured out that, then you can figure out the number of apples in the larger basket. Okay, in the larger one, how many of that, right? Just one section is 100, so it's 400. So there are 400 apples in the larger basket. Okay, let me repeat again. Okay, so we have how many of you get the answers? 400. You have 480. Oh. All right, so let me repeat again. Okay, so we have, I can erase this picture again. I'm going to erase this picture again. Okay, at the very beginning, you draw 4 sections for the large one and 1 section for the small one. Okay, then you are going to have move 140 apples from large one to small one. So that means, okay, you cut, so that's 140, right? But you also lost 140. So that means this is a section you move over there, 140, okay? So those 3 sections put together, 20, 140, here's also 140 when you compare, right? If you still move it back, okay? Right now you move 140 apples from the large basket to the small one. But when you move back, you put it back, you will see that, oh, this is a part I moved, and it's here, right? And there's 20 in between. So add them together, I should have 300 apples. But that's for the 3 sections at the bottom line. So that's why each section represents 100. Okay, and then that 100 is the number of the apples in small basket. Now sometimes using equations much easier. Let's write down the equation. S means the number of apples in small basket. L means the number of the apples in larger basket. The first sentence tells you L equals 4S. Got it? Now, if you move 140 apples from large basket, so you lose 140. The second sentence says that it's going to be right. So the small one you get 140, right? But the sentence says that the apples the number of apples in large basket now is 20 more than the number of the apples in small baskets. You have to still have added 20, right? So that is the equation. Okay, then you're trying to solve it. And how do you solve it? It looks pretty complicated, right? Well, you can solve it in simplify a little bit. This is going to be L equal minus 140 equals S plus 160. Okay, so you can just use a subtraction. Okay, you can use a subtraction. You can move this, add the 140 to both sides. So you get L equals S plus S 300, right? Okay, plus 140 to both sides. Add the 140 to both sides. Okay, so it's gonna be, yeah. So now you compare those two equations. So the left hand side is S plus 300 equals 4S, right? Then, okay, of course, I think S should be 100. You can subtract S from both sides. You get 300 equals 3S. Of course, S is going to be 100. Okay, and then you can figure out the number. You can figure out L. Okay, L should be equal 400. Okay, so this is the idea using equations, and here we use a picture. It's pretty similar, but it's more, can be visualized. But that's what we can do. Okay, so let's look at the next problem. Yeah, the next problem about pencils. All right, John and David have several pencils. John has pencils 3 times as many as David. If John gives 3 pencils to David, then John has 2 more pencils than David. Okay, so much less, right? How many pencils does John have originally? It's similar to the above problem. It's similar to above problem. You can solve solve it using equations. You can solve them using pictures. It's up to you. Okay, so we draw the line here. Like on the right hand side, we use a solve from equation. Okay, you can try the first, right? John has a pen 3 times as David, so John equals 3D, right? According to the first sentence. If John gives 3 pencils to David, now how many pencils does John have right now? Minus 3. But David has 3 more, right? Then when you put the equality, you have to say John has 2 more pencils than David. So this time, John has 2 more pencils than David. Okay. After give up 3 pencils to David, David has 3 more pencils, so D plus 3. John has 3 less pencils, right? 3 pencils less, so G minus 3. When you compare both sides, you have to add 2 because otherwise they're not be balanced. All right. Then you do a similar way as above. You simplify the second equation. So J minus 3 equals D plus 5. And then you have to add 3 to both sides. Add 3, so D plus 8. Then you compare those 2 equations. Okay, and replace J by D plus 8. And then you can see what you get. I think you can get D equals 4 because when you minus D on both sides, you get 4, 8 equals 2D. So D should be equal to 4. Once you get 4, then you can get J. J is 3 times 4. It's 12. So you see, using equations would be much easier to solve. Now, let's use the pictures. Okay? There's pictures. So John definitely has more pencils than David. So let's put the number of pencils David has is like this section. And then John has 3 more sections, right? 3 times as many as David has. Okay. Now, if John gives 3 pencils to David, so that means cut 3 and move it to here. So 3. Then this is 3, right? 3 you put it here. then you will see the gap. You know, I just sketched the graph. So the gap, when you see, let's cut it, right? So this piece is moved to here, right? Cut it, right? So then it also equivalent to here, right? Put it back, right? So what is difference? The difference says, what is this part, right? This part is gonna be 2, okay? It's gonna be 2, okay? It's gonna be 2. All right, so that means what? That means here's 3, right? You know, you put it back as 3, right? You lost 3, but 2. Okay, so then you can tell that. Yeah, draw the picture in 10. Total, this side is going to be 8. Okay, so that 8 is what? How many sections? Represent 2 sections here originally. So that 1 section means the numbers of pencil David here. So that's why the number of pencils David has is going to be 8 divided by 2 should be equal to 4. Okay. Yeah. This is how do we do that? You know, you can. Yeah. First of all, you draw. First of all, you draw the section for David. Then this is equal. You know, for John, right? It's going to be 1 section, 2 sections, 3 sections. Okay. Okay. This is David. This is John. Okay. Then you cut a small piece and put attached to the John section. Then you compare. Then you realize that. The remaining, you know, the between those 2 small letter sections is 2. So total should be 8. Okay. Then from that, this 8 is represent equivalent to 2 sections of, okay, the David. So we solve the problem. Yeah, I hope you are able to draw the picture. Okay, so let's take a look at number 5. Okay, so there are several boards we call A, B, C. You know, they're marked. Okay. Okay. So there are 7 more boards than A and B, and there are also 11 more B boards than C boards. Okay, the number of the A boards is 3 times the number 3 times as many. Okay. 3 times the number of the C boards. How many A boards are there? Right. I prefer to use equations first. A means the number of A boards. B means the number of B boards. C means the number of C boards. Okay. So let's see if we can. Set up equation. Also, the number of the A boards is going to be the number of B boards plus 7. That's what it says there. There are 8 more A boards than B boards. The number of the B boards is going to be 11 more than C boards. Okay? That's the second equation tells. Second sentence. So the number of the A boards, the last sentence, let's read it sentence by sentence, okay? The number of the A boards is 3 times the number of C boards. So A boards is going to be 3 times C boards. So you have 3 numbers that are related by those 3 equations. Then you have trouble, right? but you can do like that. How do you get, you know, look at this, right? Only A and C there. So I can replace this B by C plus 1. Right? So that means A equals C plus 11 and plus 7. Right? So that means That means C plus 18. Okay, then you can compare those two. Otherwise, you cannot compare. Right? Otherwise, you cannot compare. So how do you compare? In the place of A, you should get C plus 18. Okay. Then you can solve C. Okay. Why you have to subtract C from both sides? So you get 18 equals 2C. So that means C should be equal to 9. Okay. Once you get a 9 for C, then you can get A. We're going to find how many A, right? A is going to be 18. Okay. All right. Who is writing on the screen? Please stop. Do it. Okay. All right. So this is a power of the equations. You know, you can, if you're able to learn, understand them, then you can solve the problem quickly. So now we have to draw the picture. So you got 27. 27. Yeah, 3 times C. Okay, sorry, 3 times C, 27. All right. Okay, so now let's draw the picture. So there are 7 more. Okay, this is a how do we draw A and B and the C? Okay, so we can do like this. This is a A. A has a more, right? A is going to be, that's A, the number of the A balls is going to be 7 more than number of the B balls, so 7 more. Okay, so this section will be 7 here. Okay, that's a B, and the number of the B balls, okay, the number of C balls, right? This is going to be 11. Right? So you compare, you know, yeah, this is section, right? That's section, okay? You can also compare, you know, those 2 lines, right? Right. All right, so so that means if you compare A and C, right? If you compare A and C, this part will be total, will be 18. Okay, right? But we also know that the last sentence says that A, the number of A balls is three times the number of C balls. So that means you have A is equivalent to 3 sections of a C, right? So that means 1 section of C should be, 2 sections of C should be equal to 18. So the number of the C balls is going to be 9, clear. You can read it from the picture if you draw the picture carefully. Yeah, right? So the idea is that you draw the long line for the A balls, then draw a little bit short line for the B balls. The difference is 7. Okay, you mark it. Then you draw another shorter line for the C balls. The number of C balls are much shorter. So difference is 11. Then you compare those 3 lines, and you can easily see. Then you compare A and the C. It's easily see that A ball is 18 more. There are 18 more A balls than C balls. But then also use the last sentence. The length of the A is 3 times the length of C. That's why you can figure out the C, right? So once you get C, then A is going to be 3 times 9 is 27. Right? But without the picture, you have to write down names of variable. Okay, let A denote the number of A balls, B denote the number of B balls. Then you write down the equation based on from each sentence. Then you try to solve it using substitution, eliminations. Okay, that's what they're going to learn in the basic math class. But if you learn at the advanced quickly, that's great. Okay. So either you draw the picture or it's up to you, okay, when you do the homework. All right, so now we're going to do the next problem. It's slightly different. A factory produced 2,000 more toys than in February than January. So in January, we don't know how many toys they produced, but in February, they produced 2,000 more. But it also produced 3,000 more toys in March than in February. Okay? And then the number of toys produced in March is twice the number of toys produced in January. I want to know how many toys are produced in each month, add them together. Okay, can you do that? I still show you two different ways to. Maybe you can use the pictures. Let me use equations. Okay. Let's denote January means the number of toys produced in January, February, March, right? M means the number of toys produced in March. Okay. So based on the first sentence, February equals January plus 2,000. Then in March is going to be February plus 3,000. We also know that the number of toys produced in March is twice of the number of toys produced in January. Okay. So you have those three equations. How do you solve the problem? Well, you compare M and J. So you have to express M in terms of J first. Okay. M equals F plus 3,000. But the F is J plus 2,000. So finally you get it's J plus 5,000. That is M. On the one side, M equals J plus 5,000. On the other side, M is going to be 2J. So what is J? 5,000. So that means in January, they produced 5,000 toys. Okay. Then you also can figure out February 2,000 more, 7,000, and March 3,000 more, so 10,000. Okay, so 10,000 of course is twice of 5,000. That solves the problem. You double check that. So that's the equation. Right? Those are using equations to solve the problem. Okay. And then you got three equations, three variables. All right, now let's try to use a picture. Okay, you can add them together. You know, if you figure out each month how many toys produced, the answer will be, yeah, J plus F plus M. That's going to be, right? 22,000. All right, so let's go back to the picture, using pictures. So January, that's center, right? And then February, 2,000 more. Let's put a 2,000. March, 3,000 more. Okay. Then you compare. Those two, right? So this is a 1, 2, right? You compare this. Compare the January with March. So January, March. But we are told that March is going to be, the number of toys is double the January, right? Now sometimes like say 100 more than double the January. That's possible, twice of January. So here you can see that this part is additional 5,000, right? But we know that's double, so that means the number of toys produced in January must be 5,000 from this picture. It's obvious. So sometimes picture you can see the answer quickly than the questions. Okay, when the problem is simpler. Okay, so then it's clearly the number of toys produced in January should be equal to 5,000. Okay, then just add 2,000 and 3,000. Then you get, yeah. All right, it's clear from the picture. You should draw one line for January and add 2,000 to the January for the February. Then you add the 3,000 to the January, February. Then you get total, 5,000 more. But that 5,000 more, you just doubled the number in January. And that clearly 5,000, it should be the numbers in January. Okay. Okay, let's try the next problem. I'm going to let you try. Stop here. All right, so here's the problem. If one pours 10 gallons of water, that's two different conditions here, into tanker A, then tanker A and tanker B has the same amount of water. If one pours 4 gallons of water into tanker B, then tanker B, not bottom, okay? Tanker B has, it's not, it has the same has the water 3 times as much as bottom tanker A. Okay. So please solve this problem. Okay, I'll give you a minute to think about it to see if anyone can figure it out quickly. Let's bring the new problems. I have to find out who's drawing on my board. So please erase it, okay? All right, so again, you try both ways if you're able to solve the problem, okay? The first, let's use the equations, okay? So in tank A, right? Amount of water in tank A, we call it A, okay? In tank B, and then call B, okay? So if we pour 10 gallons of water into tanker A, so add 10. Tanker A and tanker B have the same amount of water, right? That's the first condition. Now, if one pours 4 gallons of water into tanker B, B plus 4, then tanker B has water 3 times as much as of A, so it's a 3A. So you got 2 equations like that, right? Now, how do you solve this problem? This time I'm going to use subtraction, okay? So equation 2 minus equation 1, let's do this way. Or equation 1 minus equation 2. Then you get a negative number. It really doesn't matter, okay, which one's first. So let's try this. Equation 1 minus equation 2. Okay? A minus 3A is negative 2A, right? Then 10 is still there. And then B minus B is gone. B minus 4, here's negative 4. Okay? Well, you get a negative number. Right? So negative 2A, you subtract the 10 from both sides. Negative 4 minus negative 10 is negative 14. So what is A? Should be 7. Forget the negative sign, both are negative. So that's why you get a 7. Then B should be 8 plus 10, 7 plus 10. It's 17. Okay, 17. All right, so let's draw the picture to understand this problem. Yeah. So this is amount of water in A. Okay. This is amount of water in B. The why I draw a longer one? Because after I pour 10 gallons of water, right? Then there's a sip. So that's a picture. Okay. The second picture is I have to add use another color. Okay. If I pour 4 gallons of water, that's a 4 into tank B, then this should be 3 times as much as what in the A. So that means, okay, okay, this is one section in A. Now they have 3 sections, right? So that means total, what is if we compare both sides, you will see that this portion total will be 14. Okay, so 14 is twice as much twice the amount of water in tank A. If you look at this picture, clear. So A should be equal to 14 divided by 2. It's 7. It's much easier. You see, you can see quickly, right? Then B is going to be 7 plus 10 should be 14. Okay. So let me repeat again. You draw a short line for A, longer line for B, then you add a 10 to A, then they have the same length. Then you add the 4 to B, right? Then this time you compare with the original line A. That should be 3 times the line A. So you draw 3 sections. But the increased part for B is actually 14 from, right? So 2 sections should be equivalent to 14 from the picture. You can tell that, right? So that's why 1 section represents 7. That's the amount of water in the tank A originally 7 gallons. Okay, doesn't matter which way you prefer. You try both ways. If you do the homework, that's better. Eventually, you have to learn how to set up equation to solve the problem. Okay. All right. So now we are going to solve the last problem. Okay. There were apples, pears in a box. The number of the apples is 4 times the number of the pears. If I put 12 apples, 12 pears into the box, of course you're going to change, right? And then total numbers of apples and pears. Then the number of apples 3 times the number of the pears. How many apples were in the box originally? Okay. Let's draw the picture, okay? Picture number of the pears. Apples, I think 4 times, right? That's the first picture. Now you're going to add 12 apples in each. So use a different color. 12 apples. 12. 12. Then what? I'm going to draw a short one. It's too long. Doesn't matter. Does not match. Okay. So that's additional, right? After you add that, and then you will get one piece. That's total, right? 1, 2, 3. Oh, how do you compare that? All right. Probably this time is the pick equation is better. You see that the number of the apples equals 4 times of number of the pears, right? So now you add 12 apples. You also add 12 pears. So the relationship between them will be 3 times that. Okay. So from here, how do you solve the equation? Remember, when you do the multiplication, you have to multiply them, each of them. Okay. So A plus 12 equals 3P. 12 times 3, 36. Okay. Now this A is moved to here. What is the value of A? 4P. Okay. All right, so let's simplify it. With both sides minus 12. So 4P equals 3P plus 24. Then you remove some minus 3P, right? So only 1P is left. So P 24. Okay. The number of apples 4 times 24, which is 96. So there are 96 apples there. Okay. There are 96 apples, 24 pears. Now from the picture, can you figure it out that easily? Right, remember. Yeah, how do you compare them now? Originally, apple is 4 times the number of pairs pairs, right? So it's 12. I think this problem using equations much easier. Okay, so when you compare them, you have to Mhm. All right, so anyone have ideas? Yeah. So this is a good example, shows you, that's how I put it last, okay? It is a little bit harder to, I think, to analyze that using the pictures, honestly. It's not very direct forward like last time. We can compare two lines. It's not that easy, okay? So you may be able to figure it out, but that's why I show you equations are better and sometimes not that complicated. So number of apples equals number of, 4 times the number of pears. Then you add this 12, 12, right? Then you compare both sides, you write down the relationship. Then from here, you're trying to figure out the numbers and have two unknown numbers, but as long as you can figure out one of them, you can solve it, okay? So well, you can translate these equations into the pictures, like 3 times 12, you add 3 times. But I think it's much better to use the pictures, use the equations than the pictures. So there are not always problems. You can always easily use the pictures to figure it out. When you later on, when you try to solve more sophisticated problems, you have to use the equations, name the variables and the equations, and from the equations you can solve. But you have to learn how to simplify the equations, the substitutions. There are many ways to get those answers, okay? But this is just only one way. Maybe it's not the best, to simplify the equations, okay? I hope, I will give you a set of 8 problems for this week, and make sure you complete the homework, and you can discuss with your parents if you need their help. Okay. See you. Bye bye.